statistics. 20 years ago, I was standing in a hot warehouse on the southwest side of the city of Chicago. I was a brand new employee at the Food Depository, and as part of my employee onboarding, I was required to go to an evening repack session, one of the volunteer sessions that we have every week. Now, I think it's kind of amazing that I've lasted as long as I did at the Food Depository because I was spectacularly incompetent that evening. I was having trouble figuring what box was, or what can was supposed to go in what box was supposed to go on what pallet, and there was this incredibly nice gentleman who sort of took me under his wing and, was like, no, you got it all wrong. No, do it over here. And by the end of the evening, I felt such incredible gratitude. And I asked him, what's your story? You are obviously the super volunteer. Are you here every week? He said, well, I'm not here every week, but I am here every month. You're here every month? That's amazing. Why do you do that? He said, well, what I do for a living is just imaginary. I just do imaginary stuff. But when I come here, when I walk into this building, when I put that can in that box, and I put that box on the pallet, and when I get a little hot and sweaty, and when I go home, that feels real. And so once a month, I have to feel real. So I said, what do you do that's imaginary? He said, I work at the stock exchange. I said, oh, okay. I was brand new. It was about maybe 8 months later that I learned that was Bob Forney, who was actually the CEO of the stock exchange. And it was more than lip service. He literally every month came down and he brought a group of people with him, his colleagues, his family members, his friends. And this idea that volunteering was so central, so important to him that he would clear his calendar and come down into the warehouse is something that inspired me. And it's made me really understand that the importance of what we do goes beyond the food that we distribute to a community every day. This idea of being a place where people can connect and give back and be a part of their community is really critical. It's not just me saying, yeah, it's good for you. It's actually proven it's good for you. Chicago is the third most stressed out city. And if you haven't experienced that already, I am so excited for you, but I've had it 12 times already today. I've been in traffic, nothing. It's just trying to get across the city right now. We're all frantic. We're all running around. The blood pressure is high. We are living stressed out lives, and yet there is really clear data that people who volunteer regularly have lower hypertension. People who volunteer regularly, they have better sleep patterns, they tend to have less depression, and they live longer. So if I could bottle that up and sell it, I would be a millionaire and I would be giving to the Food Depository, which I promised I wouldn't make you all do, but that's just another little thought there. So the idea here is, yeah, it's the right thing to do, but it's also really, really good for you. The second reason, it's kind of good for your career. This is something that we hear again and again from the people who come down. And it wasn't just the Bob Forney example. CEOs come to us and they ask us to build volunteer programs, not just because they don't know what to do with the young people on their team. They do it because they've begun to recognize the employees that stand up and say, yeah, actually, I would like to volunteer. Those are the ones that they want to invest in. What we hear and what the data indicates, Deloitte has done a lot of research on this, is that the employees who volunteer regularly, they are more likely to be sought after for recruitment and also for promotion. Those are the employees that consistently CEOs recognize as being leadership material. So if you don't even believe me about the health, if you want to be stressed out, if you don't care about sleepless nights, okay, don't do it for that. But if you care about your career, I'm going to suggest to you there's a whole host of data and a lot of anecdotal information that will tell you, at least in this town, if you want to further your career, volunteer. And then finally, and I'm going to close on this note, it's good for the community. People are surprised when they come down to the Greater Chicago Food Depository or they walk into other community organizations and they see paid staff and they think, well, that's great. You guys have it. I heard from John. Millions raised by the industry, so good, check mark, done. In my organization, we relied last year on 23,000 individuals giving us a hand. They gave us more than 88,000 hours, the equivalent of more than 42 full-time employees, which I never could have purchased. We have volunteers, including a prominent member of the futures industry, who drive trucks for us. We have volunteers who answer phone calls, who put food out into the community in every single part of our business. And we couldn't do our work without volunteers. And I would argue that most of the community responses, whether it is in the schools, whether it's in hospitals, other human service organizations, food distribution, like organizations like the Food Depository, we couldn't do what we do without people being engaged, which is where I want to end, which is kind of where I started. These are tough times, and I can't help it, but I got to talk for 1 second about hunger. When we woke up this morning, there were 800,000 other people who woke up in Cook County. And they had all of the same stresses that we did. They were watching the train schedule. They were looking at the traffic reports. They were worrying about how they were going to get their kids out of the door to summer camp. All of the things. You guys may not have to worry about that. I had to worry about that. All of the things that we worry about. Did I get my suit from the dry cleaner? Do I have gas in the gas tank? And on top of that, they had one additional worry. And that was that they knew that they didn't have food in their house for dinner tonight or breakfast for their kids tomorrow. And that's a reality. And it stinks. And I've been doing this work a long time. And I got to tell you, I have yet to meet anyone who thinks it's okay in the most beautiful city in the world, the most fabulous, generous, caring community, to have people who struggle that deeply to have food to eat. But this isn't a problem of supply. There is food. This is a problem of engagement and of will. And for that, we need volunteers. We need you. So I hope I see you, whether it's at the great bar that it sounds like you're going to be going to tomorrow evening, or somewhere else, if it's at the FIA event or someplace else. I hope I see you in the future, and I hope you're volunteering.